Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity and practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Concept Brooks, and this episode talk about end of November and a start of December update because basically this December is when the episode will drop. But basically, this November actually successfully gone through it, and boom, I'm 27 now. Oh, 27th on the 27th day. Yeah, I've actually done it. So it's past. Uh, never gonna come back. But it's good. Good that actually I went through that, and it's funny. The celebration that I did on the 27 was really a makeshift, but it was really sentimental as well. What happened was that, so due to the fact that the 27th was a work day, I'm doing it work. I never planned on doing any celebration or anything like that. I was saying, okay, I'm just gonna do something. Just gonna just uh no, usually what I did for the last few was take a picture, a picture signifying something, signifying some progress. But I said like, no, nothing. Actually working now. There's not much. It's a work day. Nothing is going to coordinate well with it. What happened was that like a day before, or 2 days before, what happened was that the time closed. The workplace closed. My work was finished basically like early, and just basically just went there. Went to a pastry place, which was really sentimental because happens that my mother worked there. Actually, I just bought some 2 slices of cake, and then just basically and 3 cupcakes. But the funny thing is, I actually forgot the cupcakes. Went home, realized that the I only had the 2 pieces of cake, and be like, oh my god. And it's like the reason why I bought 3 cupcakes and 2 plain cake because I wanted to eat one of the cupcakes. So when I actually realized that none of the cupcake was not there, and be like, oh my god. But I had work the next day, so I actually went to work the next day. And then what happened was that actually I left on time again, and it's like, and the thing is like, oh, I guess I could actually go to the pastry place again and see if they actually have the cupcake. And lo and behold, it was there. It was there. So basically, this celebration was, it was the 27 and 27. It was really special as well. It was really special. I guess this is the transition, a transition where certain realities are being accepted, and the fact that I'm not getting any younger. But what happened at the same time as while I'm not getting younger, certain things, new phases are beginning, and there are certain things that I'm realizing where certain things that happen, and be like, oh, I never understand it. But what happens is that when you reach certain ages, you get a different perspective on those things that you did not understand, and then you build on it. Yeah. Okay, so basically, since I started 27 year, what is it I'm looking to do now? So basically, what ideally I want to do this goal is I'm gonna try to achieve that 6 month income being saved at least. I want to achieve that goal just to say I can do it because what happens is that as I said, life can be long. Life can be long. Given my grandmother's 90 years. And there's a lot of what happens is that each year you are requiring more financial resources to do certain things, take care of your health. Your health is more important each year. You have to live a full life, like reach that level. You can't just basically not take care of your health. Your health will deteriorate as and what happens is that um the work that I'm doing now is a lot more riskier. So each level you go, you're taking on more risk. So this job is actually more riskier to my health and stuff. Now we have actually gone through the preparation and stuff to know the risk. And but what I realize is that if you want to reach the top each level gets more riskier. But it's not like you're not being prepared for the risk. The thing is, you have to be prepared for, you have to make your own preparation yourself outside of the preparation for the risk. And that's what I've actually learned so far. Nobody not gonna do that preparation for you as well. And so the next thing is I'm going to actually try to go after more career driven goals. So what happened is that in this 26th year, I got my first employment through my own efforts and gone through the process and see what a normal work environment is like. But I've actually been in a new company which is where bigger and a lot more it's more hands-on and stuff, one more hands-on and stuff, so where I would have actually be taking on more responsibility. It's a job where I actually may get do things that get promoted, have more responsibility, taking care of people under me and all those stuff again. I've actually, if you're listening, you realize I've actually done that before, but no, I would be actually doing that to get paid. And that, so it's like I would, it was something that I would try to run away from. But, you sometimes you can't just avoid it. You have to actually just go through it and do it. So it's like, um, I have to actually be prepared for those stuff. And, while um, doing those stuff at work, and I get a basic understanding from my first employment experience. So in this new work, you just adjust into a bigger environment, bigger, more dynamic environment. The first work was more sitting down. This one is more moving around, working a lot of different personalities. But the next thing is also have to work. What I'm actually doing is try to ideally I want to do more career driven goals. So if you realize the science is my thing. So now I'm actually getting income and stuff like that. Actually do more stuff to advance that aspect of it because what I realized is you can reach the top. You can reach it. It's not for that you will reach it, but what happens is that you don't basically start at it. You have to basically build your way. If you listen to the episode before I talk about compounding your way to the top, yeah, you can compound, but you have to actually put in some work or smart work and stuff. So when you actually see, so like a company, this company, you'll see me becoming a person that be responsible for certain people. But I was prepared. I was a worker before. I was at the bottom before. I actually go to training before. Started as a trainee and I work my way up. So when you see me at the top, a person may come in and see me at the top, but I actually start from the bottom as well. The same thing with the work. What I realized is that being older now, 1 year older now, you see the people at the top, the big scientists or stuff, when a pandemic occurs or epidemic occurs. And that's a new perspective as well, where, the, I've gone through many epidemics, a good amount of epidemics and stuff, and I survive a lot. And, the corona is another one. And what happened is that each level and I was a different level of smart or stuff. So the corona pandemic actually got my bachelor's back then. But and I see, and what happens is that I could actually have vague understanding, but I did not have the power to do major execution on the smart execution and stuff. I do was I in the position to do something like vaccine research, to do to make a vaccine and all those stuff. I never at that level. But what happens is that as a component of I may reach a point where actually being doing this new work and see what I'm doing now. What I realize is that I may actually reach a point where actually doing the vaccine making and all those stuff are even bigger. So I have to actually prepare for those levels. I have to actually just prepare for those levels. And what happens is that the preparation before make when you reach those levels and those big things happen, you're not as scared or it's not as scary as it may seem to be. And then what happens is that you can actually make changes. If you reach that, make changes where what happened. A pandemic can be really scary and all those stuff because your life is on the line. But if you basically reach it to the top and doing it in the right way, you can just basically calmly make calm recommendations that basically minimizes stuff and it works. And be like, yeah, so you have to just basically, yeah, that's what I'm basically seeing now that I reach my 27th year. The next thing is the good thing about 27 years now I've actually get so I've got the first job through my own effort, but the second job was gotten really easier. So starting December it will basically be like 2 months now that I'm actually going to do the work. Well, when it started December, it will be basically like 1 month, but start December going to New Year will be like 2 months. So what would happen is that I've actually successfully compounded, got two different work in in a span. So I will lasted 1 month and then got it basically by the next month. So I guess now the me getting a work would not be the issue now. I've actually passed that phase. And the work would the next thing would be now to actually getting the work that I desire. That will be the next thing. So getting work and getting money, that's not the issue. No, it's getting the work that you desire. That's the new level. So as the career driven goals and all those other stuff will be required to actually reach that point. And yeah, so the next thing is that what you realize is that you see all those older people in those big um places. It's because all those stuff they did in their younger years as well. And so I'm at that phase as well. I'm at that phase as well. The next thing is more tax obligation. As I said, I'm a homeowner stuff, so more tax obligation, income. I guess income related tax is basic as it's the same, but more land related taxes and stuff. So actually, I learn more effectively learn more about that as well. And you have to just work with it. Work with it. It's a part of life. Part of life. Ah, you know, the next thing as well, conveniently. So when I had the first work, so you realize that I'm a second work. My first work, one of the opportunities actually I took before actually I lost the work was actually apply for a credit card, and it was approved. But for some reason, maybe it was due to the pandemic and the world not, and the place not really opening as much as yet still was due to the fact that the card took forever to actually reach the post office where I actually wanted to be. But uh, so I was approved it, but I could not get it. But after a very long attempt, finally, after I turned 27, I got the credit card. I got a credit card. So yeah, you just me have to make smart moves now. And what happened is that I had actually activated the credit card. I realized there was actually a fee that was removed, and that would be like the annual fee. So yeah, and I said the credit card is risky, and basically I started off with the risk already. Start, so it's like it's one of those things where I have to actually try to go to that level, and certain things that the thing is that what I realize is that I'm making smart moves to avoid certain things, but it's even when I make smart moves, they always push me into actually the, no matter how you may say, okay, I will settle at this level. Something always push you towards the next level, or pushing you towards the next level. So now I'm doing a job that is more riskier to my health. So I have to actually take more health related because I'm doing a lot of lifting and stuff like that. So it's health to my back and stuff. And then now I'm doing something like a credit card where I'm basically using a card to take a loan. I'm taking loan, but the rewards can be there as well. But also, if it goes wrong, it's a lot of money, interest, a lot of interest you have to be paying back. And I don't want to do that, but I have to actually embrace the reality. But no, what I have to do is actually take the time to research to do it so I can do it effectively so that the trials that come the bad side that comes with doing those stuff because there are good sides to everything. But if you do not know how to do it, then what happens at the bad side is what you'll be experiencing the most. If I learn to actually use it more the credit card effectively, I can embrace the good things like the good rewards. Like if I got a bigger card, I could fly out. Uh, using card points and all those stuff and all those things. So it's like there's good sides, but you have to actually be disciplined to actually be able to get those good sides. Yeah. So basically, now reaching 27, what what also I'm going to do is reading more. Reading more. I want to be more diverse. So and more skill related, learning a lot more skills. I was learning, and when I talk skill, I'm talking like computer hardware skills and stuff other outside of the thing, like for example, the science stuff other like being a man kind of skill and stuff. Because ideally, what would happen is that, you know, given that I turned 30, I should be skill enough where that's the the plan. I should be skill enough where certain basic stuff that I was actually going to actually pay for them to pay for people to fix. I should be able to actually do it. So like for example, minor fixes to my phone or like a computer or stuff like that or software. I should be able to actually do that comfortably. Where it's only big cases where I actually need to do that. And then what happens is that when I learn a skill, I can pass it on to someone. Maybe and that's how you build generational knowledge and all those stuff. Where you learn the skills now, so that by the time you're 30, I'm actually proficient in those skills. I'm proficient reader in a lot of topics other than science. So I'm more versed, more I'm able to make more diverse conversation and stuff at different levels. Able to explain my thoughts more clearly because one of the things I have issues with when I work is that it's not the fact that I'm not able to explain my thoughts or my ideas more clearly. Clearly, it's the fact that my way of explaining things is still I still not have found the effective way to to, to explain certain things. Where one of the things that I realize now, I should say, is that the perspective of age. I'm actually seeing that now, where certain things that I've learned now, I'm actually working with younger people. So it's like uh, I would say something, and it's like I would have to keep on saying like you would get it until you're that age. You would get it. And what will happen is the funniest thing is that it's yeah, because what happened is that I'm actually trying to make smart moves to break the cycle of struggle that I've come from. What happened is that I actually see someone younger doing that same thing that I avoided to break the cycle. And what happened is that a person will be so convinced as to why why you're doing why they're doing that is right and me not doing it is wrong, and make me layman or coward or stuff like that. But not understand the perspective of the fact that I'm actually trying to break curses. So I don't want to actually go do that now to jeopardize the progress that I've made to reach this point. You don't. So it's like it's one of those things where actually I recognize that now I'm at that level now where I'm recognizing where you're doing stuff to reach your goal, but what happens is that sometimes you deal with younger people, and if they are not willing to actually take the time to learn your perspective or see your level or respect your level that you're at, then you it will be hard to actually convey your stuff. So the next thing now that I'm going to learn in this phase is to actually make recognize those things and then try to code switch, be able to say, yo, speak on a level, speak on a different level where while not separating myself. Where so what that means is that I want to reach the top of the science and stuff like that. I'm not there as yet, so I'm basically doing work that is not related to that much to science. So I want to be able to work on that, but not be so out of touch or not wanting to learn from one of the things where basically I be like, oh, I'm looking down on people and stuff like that. No, I want to be able to differentiate the fact that you're on this path, I'm on this path. You know, I can teach you things related to that, but if you're not to the part that I'm on, but if you're not interested, I just say, yeah, we just don't want to deal with that. But but if you're interested to learn my perspective, I can explain it to you. But that's the phase that I'm in now. Where yeah, so yeah, so by 30 there should be a lot of skills being learned. And what happens is that funny enough, years ago I saw an Instagram post. And the fact is, it's funny enough, those Instagram posts is actually becoming a reality. Oh, so e- everything just takes time. Everything just takes time. That's basically what I'm learning. Everything just takes time. So, and the next thing is, so I mentioned that I'm doing this work now. This is causing a lot more. That can cause a lot more back ailment. So, having the grandmother that I have and stuff like that. She know a lot of remedies, and actually what happening is now I'm actually recognizing the use of those other remedies now. So what would happen is that I know the remedies basically how to protect myself during this pandemic, during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. But what happened is that we're out of the pandemic now, but they're normal. They're still normal um real life ailments, so like backache and all those stuff that is still there. So one thing that actually I understand at this phase is that you know I'm seeing when I'm seeing my grandmother's end result. I'm seeing what I'm always seeing was the end result. So what happened is that what I realized is that the 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 retired her that I grew up with, and all her all the stories that she would say and all those stuff, and this story is starting to make sense where all those ailments that she kind of have issue that she had in her older years were due to her years working. for example, she had issue with her eyes. And what would happen is that in her time, when she was sewing and all those stuff, she had to use a lamp. Not she did not have electricity or stuff like that, or sometimes electricity would go away, so she would use a lamp. And that would happen is that her eyes would be strained. So when she was younger, she would do that and say, yes, she's out here trying to maximize her money and stuff like that. But during her older years now, she had to rely more on glasses, and then eventually she got cataract and all those stuff. But what I can say, what I can say is that the cataract would be due to that. But what happened is that her eyesight got weaker generally due to the fact that her she was working in a and straining her eyes. So one of the things that I'm learning in this new phase now is that yes, life can be long, and you life can be long, and what happens is that your retired years is going to be a result of all the trials and tribulations that you go through in your working years. And the next thing that I realize is that you may not be able to avoid it, in the sense that you will get an ailment. The good thing about my grandmother was that she didn't have any of those terminal ailments, like for example cancer and all those stuff. She had basically basic like hyper. She had somewhat hypertension, but it was she was know she knew how to manage it. And what happened was it was not hyper. No, no, senior in her years. What happened is that it wasn't hypertension that was as serious that as most people had it. So I know. So one of the things is that I know it runs in my family, but I seen her being able to manage it. I know that it's possible, but she has other things as well, arthritis, other aches, and all those stuff. All those things came from her years, working years. And what happened is that if she went through her working years and did not receive those ailments when she was older, all those stuff should be done. She would basically get some ailment as well. So it's that one of the things that I realized is that y- that those things won't be avoided. What you can do is just basically minimize it. Learn the lessons, learn the lessons from the older generation, and try to break as much of those cycles as possible, so that the younger generation don't have to do that much of those hard work. Get rid of those hard work, so that in the older years you don't have to deal with that much risk. you know. And so that's one of the new perspective that I'm seeing as in this level as well, where if I'm going to enjoy my retired years, I have to be take care of my health from early, and knowing that the older me, the retired me, will be based on the decisions that I make in my younger years, and the fact that you know, these things can't be avoided, but if you recognize it from early, it can be minimized or prevented. So you can prevent the terminal illnesses, like for example, the seriousness of cancer and all those stuff. Ideally, you can actually prevent those stuff, but basic stuff, the getting old, you basically can't stop. But So there's each level I'm learning new things that being with my grandmother is being valuable now, but it's just for me to execute it, and ideally just one of the things she being a Christian, pray that it actually goes well. Pray that I don't actually get any terminal illness or that or not, or if I do, be calm enough, to actually be able to handle it. But the next thing as well is that being a science person, career driven goal. One of the next career driven goal will be see if I can actually eliminate some of those terminal illnesses where find a cure and all those stuff. Those things where pipe dream are not pipe dream would be say it would be fantasy. It would be like, oh, it would be cool. That would be a goal as to where I am doing that. But knowing now I'm at this phase of life where if I actually put in the work, I could be in the position to actually make progress to actually minimize that. Where basically I could introduce something that boom decrease the chance of getting cancer by oh 1%. And be like 1% is insignificant, but it's a lot of people's lives will be saved just by doing that. Then eventually, boom, we be like, oh, I did I found a cure. Yeah, so yeah, so at this phase of life, I'm realizing that most of the stuff that you be hearing my 26 years, and there's still some of the episodes that I recorded during my 26 years. Uh, what they basically were imaginative things and something you see brought to reality. So there, I'm still in the imagining phase, but what happens now being a new worker, stuff like that. What I can do more is make those visions more reality quicker and get the skills to actually make no more of those dreams become a reality. That's the phase that I'm in now where we're like, okay, I can actually make um have those ideas, but now I can actually more be able to execute it now. So just me with the guidance of God and all those stuff. Because I still God is still important in the life because there's what happens at each level. You get a bigger perspective as to why it's important, one of the things is that you can't explain it. Just like you can't explain it. You can't explain it or what will happen is that you can explain it, but you need someone who's open to hearing your side and stuff. Because one of the things also as well as in my older years with my grandmother was that she had her first friends and stuff that they would come over and they speak about the Bible and all those stuff and all the basic gossip and female gossip. And it would what happened is that what I realized is that the retired years, all those stuff makes sense as to why her years were very fulfilling and stuff like that because those things now actually see the value of where if I can actually get persons that like-minded persons that kind of basically have these conversations with where it's not judgmental or anything like that. It's just us bouncing ideas, getting different perspective. Then we can sit down and just and if I don't know enough, it's not a slight. It's just a fact that okay, we're learning and all those stuff. That would be beneficial as well. So that's another thing that I'm looking for in this phase. Like-minded people where basically can speak about these various things and not be judged and stuff. The network of people. So yeah, this is going to be a very interesting phase. Glad to make it to the 20th of a year. Um, yeah, and look more for more stuff. Yeah, so that's basically it for this episode. It's actually reaching the 38 minutes, so it's going to stop. So let's gonna call it a day. No, I'm actually gonna record something else. So I'm just gonna stop it. No, I have more thing to say because actually, so I'm just gonna stop it now and then record the next part. So yeah. Okay, so basically, so that basically like the 27-year thing. Now understand that I reached the 27 year. So the next thing is end of November, start of December update and stuff. So basically, what happened is that this new work also doing all this heavy lifting, actually losing weight at a basically a rapid pace. I'm basically actually at 190 now. So doing this work, I actually may reach that 180 goal basically by the by 2 weeks into December, stuff like that. Basically, with how many stuff that I'm lifting. But the next thing is that I also realize is I have to actually change my diet to actually accommodate. So if I'm actually just gonna keep doing this, I'm gonna be losing weight, but I'm getting weaker. So I have to actually be doing more protein related eating and stuff to basically while I'm losing weight, I'm actually gaining muscle so I can able to do the lifting. That's the thing. Where I'm basically trying to rebuild my body to kind of sustain the lifting and stuff. Becoming strong. So that's the goal that I actually want to actually approach in this job. I'm actually trying to become strong. So not lose weight but gain muscles and become strong. Because that's the so what happens is that I actually gain weight. So that was the first thing that I actually did try I had issue gaining weight. So I gained weight. Then after I found out to lose weight. So now ideally what I want to do now is gain muscles and then become strong. That's the next phase. And guess this work would actually be very beneficial in actually me getting there. The next thing is, by end of November now, the driver's license will actually be 3 years, so actually I can do renting of cars and all stuff like that. So my method of transportation is actually increased due to this phase now. So that's actually very very good. So what will happen also is that because renting out a car is actually expensive, and the fact that I don't have much experience, as yet it's risky. But what I can do is that if I can rent a car, I can actually make plays that save me a lot of money or make me a lot of money. One of the things also was, my first work, when I was doing the startup, I don't know if the person rented the car owned the car, but what happened was that he was very mobile in going and getting opportunities because he had a car. When I basically just got the word the first time, he drove me into the place that he worked was very, very, it was a very far place and a place, our community that in an area that my some of my family did not like. But what happened was that you know it, he was able to drive me down into town and stuff like that. So I'm at that phase where um the things that I'm seeing when I'm younger, I can actually be part of it. I now understand the value of doing that. So I was basically working at a startup company. He was starting a business. So having a car and all those stuff was very vital for him to be effective business stuff. So those stuff I'm learning now where boom I can rent a car. I'm not really gonna start the business as yet. But what happens is that I can actually make personal life plays. Like for example, getting groceries, grocery shopping, and getting the car and doing so renting a car that do basically monthly grocery shopping and doing a large shopping and stuff like that, or other stuff where basically boom I make a play then, and it could save me so much time and money and stuff just by doing that one play. And so that's basically like a compound income. That's the next level of it now with the phase that I'm unlocking. So yeah, um but the thing is that these are just ideas now. I don't know how I'm going to execute as well. As a 2024, you'll see it is I see those plans to execution and see how it goes. But yeah, yeah, I'm grateful ending the November 2023 going to December with some minor aches and stuff like that. That I'm actually working on. I bought some stuff, some stuff to work on the pain and all those stuff, and it's things that I learned from my time seeing my grandmother as well. So it's like all those stuff I'm gonna execute it now so that I have less pain going into this 27 year. I'm able to manage the pain because I did in funny enough, I have a friend that turned 30, and one of the stuff that he mentioned was that the one of the things about turning 30 will be that you're having a random aches. I don't know why. I don't want to have that before I'm 30. I don't want to have that ailment. So preventing that early is something that I'd try to do. So yeah, bruh, I'm actually excited about this new year, new phase of life. What will happen? I don't know, but yeah, you have to just basically see see the podcast, see it to see what will happen. What I can say is, given that I make it to the 20th year, a lot of dreams will be turned in reality. A lot of things will be returned reality and be like, oh my god, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's a lot of what will be going on. So that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and look forward for the next episode. Yeah.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.